I think I have one of the books of magic somewhere. That's a pretty good tie. I can show you guys my favorite book. It's right here. It's actually a toss-up. So these are my two favorite books ever. I am a huge Chuck Palahniuk fan, and I have almost all of his books. The only ones I don't have are his more recent ones and the ones that I gave away to friends. But I adore his writing style.
When they lacked in size, they
That's
made up
pretty good.
for in bravery. And so, a new minion joined the adventure.
I don't need that then. If I have this. Yeah, this is fine. That's all pretty good. It's worth buying a lot. Owned a book owned from a very famous person who hated a certain type. Oh, God. Why would you have that? I like history. I have a degree in history. I don't own Mein Kampf. I found his writing to be a very disorganized. It was very boring. I understand the significance, but I thought his writing was just dull.
Tide of evil was pushed back for now.
Just not a lot of energy or effort into it, which is kind of makes sense when you think about it, because once you say what you want to say the 30th time, it gets kind of old. At least as far as I'm concerned.
For their help and would forever be a friend.
I have my eye on you.
He wasn't that great of an artist. You know how much that book would be worth. Okay, fair enough. There are those who would argue that his art teacher was really good, and that's why he wasn't. He was terrible at war tactics. He was terrible. No one goes into Russia in the winter. Napoleon learned that, for Christ's sake.
All the townsfolk rejoice.
You can't look at Russia in the winter and go, "We got this, bro." You just can't. You just can't. All right, Loki, come on in.
It's less old as time.
I will give you he was an interesting figure in history, and that without it, we would not have a lot of the world as it is today, for better or for worse.
They
Prefer his personal doctor. Well, why do you think his personal doctor was doping him up so much? And this is true, by the way. This is not unbelievable. This is the truth. The reason why his personal doctor was doping him up so much is he was losing his fucking grip on reality. And that's what happens when you're fighting a two-front war, and on top of that, you're losing. Figuring out how to bring the Americans into the war was one of the worst disasters to happen to the effort. It was such a miscalculation, and it's ultimately what ended the war. Now, before anyone starts saying USA, USA and all that stuff, at no point in time did the United States look to be interested in moving into the Eastern Front, or the European Front. They had to. This is all stuff I've studied for years and years and years and years. The real horror of World War II, believe it or not, as far as how things got started anyway, was actually Neville Chamberlain. Neville Chamberlain is the actual reason why things got as bad as they did. And what you have to understand about Neville Chamberlain is he was the PM of Great Britain at the time. And this was, just a couple of years after the end of World War One. So, World War One ends on Armistice Day 11/11/11. And shortly thereafter, things start getting really bad really fast. About 20 years from the end of World War One. So Chamberlain, and honestly, it wasn't even just Chamberlain. Chamberlain and most of the European continent just didn't want to go and do this again. Most people were still very much trying to heal.
Perhaps you will learn something from this story.
He had tons. He had every opportunity. He got too greedy. He was like Napoleon. If he had just stayed put, he would have controlled a lot of Europe and could have theoretically eventually captured everything he wanted to through diplomacy and just continuing on the path he was on. He got greedy. There's I forget the exact joke, but it's like, you don't get high on your own supply, i.e. stop smelling your own farts. So that's kind of what happened. Genghis Khan was so much more important than anyone wants to believe. Genghis Khan removed so many humans from existence that the carbon levels in the atmosphere can be registered. Like, we know when Khan existed because that's how much carbon was removed from the atmosphere. There's also, I believe, 30 or 40% of the entire planet can date its lineage back to Genghis Khan because he was so prolific at banging. Now that is someone who truly conquered the earth. Oh man. He updated the world's population chart. He was damn near the father of humanity. Now that requires a lot of whole. He essentially is the father of the planet. You gotta respect it. You don't have to like it. but you gotta respect it. Hey, nice. Oh, super nice.
And one for all, they chanted.
Well, in fairness, it's not like he existed when nukes were an option either, so.
Forever after.
But yeah, Genghis Khan literally redefined the planet. You can't make that up.
Dig me, cried the minion.
Welcome to the History Channel. I'm your host, Some Guy. Random Dude is my name.
Our gracious hero had found a great ally.